This juncture, it is an honor to introduce our resource speaker for today's session. She is an advocate of good governance. She is shaped by different work roles in her career as the former Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences, the former Planning Director of Camarines Sur Polytechnic College's main campus. She also served as the first campus administrator of CSPC Buhi campus and was instrumental to its conversion from an extension campus into a what's known as CSPC Buhi campus. She finished AB Political Science and Bachelor of Laws, Master of Arts in History, and earned her PhD in Public Administration in Bicol University, Legazpi City, as a K-12 scholar. As a researcher, she had published several papers in a CHED-accredited journal, presented papers in different levels of paper presentations, and received awards as Best in Oral Presentation, Best Poster Paper, among others. Adding to her elemental passion for research, she is also involved in community projects of the college and members of various organizations. At 40, she is now an esteemed Professor 1 of this institution, and just like before, she is steadfast in her commitment to quality and excellence in all ways. Ladies and gentlemen, let's all give a virtual round of applause for Dr. April V. Zabala Luzon.
My greetings to our FUC President, Dr. Amado A. Oliva Jr., our Vice President for Research, Extension, Production, and Entrepreneurial Development, Dr. Shalice D. Umorog, our Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Jocelyn O. Hintalan, and likewise to our Vice President for Administration and Finance, Mrs. Nancy Penetrante. Greetings also to our esteemed Research Director and the Head of the Futures Thinking Office, Professor Harold John R. Terrano, to my colleagues here, both in Nabwa and Buhi campus, friends, students, guests from other universities, fellow researchers. I've seen one participant from Agusan del Sur State College of Agriculture. Thank you so much for joining us. Fellow researchers, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, everyone. I'll be your discussant for this afternoon. We have 2 hours of academic discussion. I hope you will bear with me and you will learn something from me. So let's get started. I'm going to share to you my presentation. This is my topic. The topic assigned to me is review of related literature and studies, but I think we have so much knowledge on related literature and studies, actually. And the concern of most of the researchers and students is how to write a better review of related literature and studies. That's why I focused my discussion on how to write it better. So here in my presentation, topic here is about the related literature and studies. But again, most of us researchers are so familiar with what is literature and studies. But the question now is, how can we write a better review of related literature and studies? And most of us here, I don't know, maybe even ako na nagtatry ng mag-research na may paper nang na-publish is still struggling with writing the literature review. So I don't know at your end if you also feel the same. But siguro, I feel that since you have joined in our Zoom meeting and is interested in learning from this lecture, maybe you also feel the same. So thank you so much to the 183 participants who are here with us this afternoon. Now, on this lecture, I'm gonna share to you some proven framework for writing an excellent literature review. This doesn't mean that I am an expert in the field of literature writing, because again, I've told you before that I'm still learning this field and is always learning so many things. But this afternoon, maybe we can try to avoid being so descriptive in writing literature. By being descriptive, we can be critical. Okay, so our paper will not be so much descriptive, but it will be a critical literature review. We can also learn here how to structure a coherent argument. Is there a pattern in our argument? Are we leading to the pyramid apex, or are we having sense in our argument in the literature? So maybe we can structure a coherent argument. We can also try to vary referencing pattern. Later on in one of my topic, we can have pattern variation in our literature writing. So let's wait for that. And of course, the icing on everything, linking the ideas together. We have so much literature, both online and in books, library. No, we have so many sources, but because there is so much on our plate, we tend to just copy paste without linking all our ideas together. So here we can try to link our ideas together. And of course, by doing all that, we can now lead into the research gap and eventually answer our research question. So that will be our framework for this 2-hour lecture. Now I have chop okay the content of my presentation. And at first we're going to have a backgrounder of defining what is RRL, what to avoid in writing RRLS. And then we can now go on from summarizing ideas from various sources to knowing the different pattern variation and then linking our ideas together. Plus, if we can still have time, how to look into the very basic. This is actually for student researchers, how to look for RRLS in Google Scholar and some other sites for RRLS. Now let's get started. I hope you are with me. Okay, so what are you going to learn? Again, we're going to present a clear argument and avoid being descriptive. And we can be critical in the literature review. We can summarize information from various studies and focus on one study in more detail because at times meron tayong paborito minsan na literature and we want to focus on one study in more detail. How are we going to make it appear critical and not so descriptive in our literature? And then, of course, if we want to make it appear that our literature is not copy pasted from different sources, we can put on patterns, variation to make sure that we are leading from a very good pyramid apex. Okay, and then the transition between ideas. Now, on our first topic, let us first define what is review of related literature and studies. This is very basic. I'm sure most of you know what is review of related literature and studies. When we speak of RRLS, this is a comprehensive analysis and presentation of literature and studies that are related to the current study, current research, thesis, or a dissertation. We say it is comprehensive because it's so vast, it's so intensive. It's an analysis because we just don't just look into it, we analyze if it is related. No? And what's crucial in review of related literature is the concept of being related to your current study, current research. We just don't look into something that is not related, but what we are trying to look into is the relatedness of previous researches to our current research thesis or dissertation. What's not within our paper, not within the picture, should be stricken out and should be considered as just a waste of paper. Okay, so it's a comprehensive analysis of what is related and current to our study. Now, what is RRLS for? Why are we doing RRLS? Is it pampadagdag lang sa page ng paper natin para magmukhang substantial or para masabi lang na may nabasa tayo, di ba? So, what's really RRLS for? What's the purpose of RRLS? The first one is to gain better and in-depth understanding of your study focus. Of course, in the first presentation of Professor Ruby Jane, she mentioned about how we can have a problem, no? And then now we are presented with a problem. We want to look into it deeper. And by looking into it deeper, we will read a lot of sources. So RRLS will allow us to have a better and in-depth understanding of our study focus. It will examine gaps. Why? from the different literature, you would see that there are previous studies that have not focused on this field, and maybe your study would like to address the gap. So you would want to examine gaps and try to fill in the gaps with your current research. You want to, by looking into RRLS, you want to gain insights from previous studies, previous presentation processes, techniques. It's actually a total exposure, and that would lead you and give you a clear picture of what you're trying to study, diba? You will be presented here with so much insights. You can also get um insights from different RRLS for you to craft your questions, diba? Because out of that insights, you are presented with a direction. So that is what RRLS for. It's not so much to add pages to our research paper, but it gives us a better understanding of what we are actually looking into. Now, what is the characteristics of RRLS? RRLS. It is first, it's relevant, it's highly connected. If it's not relevant, it's not highly connected, then there's no chance for that paper to be included in your paper. Okay, it should be relevant. It should be something that is related to your current study. It should be recent, of course. It should be recent, not long ago. It should be current. The question now here is up to how long should it be considered to be part of RRLS? Okay. 10 years would be a good recency period. But if there are so much literature for your paper, then a 5-year recency would be very much good. But if you're trying to study a historical research, currency will be a problem because the more that it's old, it's better because it's a historical research. No, but most of our researchers nowadays look into the recency of our RRLS, considering that there are so many printed documents, so many published researches. So recency is really a factor when we do RRLS. And it should be sufficient. Sufficient in the sense that it's not too few, it's not too many. There's actually no fast and hard rule to say that 100 RRLS is sufficient for my literature or 20 RRLS is sufficient. For as long as you can now present a picture of what you are looking into in your paper, and it's not too few, it's not too many, and you have sufficiently explained, no, a backgrounder for your paper, then that is enough. Because there is actually no exact rule that it should be 20 foreign studies, 20 local studies. But at times, there are schools who would set a standard and would say that, okay, you have to look for 30 foreign studies, 30 local studies. That's depending to institution. But again, RRLS should be sufficient as it should not be too few, not too many, for as long as it could explain the background of your study and could look into the depth of your study. All right. So, what are the possible sources? Ilan ba tayo dito? 233, ang dami na pala natin. Ayan. I hope you're here that just turned on your Zoom account, but you're also listening talaga ngayon, ha? Okay, so what are our possible sources? There's so many possible sources. Napakadali nang maghanap ng RRLS kasi dahil online na tayo, so at a click of our finger, diba? Pindot-pindot lang, enter lang, and you can have a lot of sources. So for literature, what are our sources? We can have from books, professional journal articles, newspaper, magazines, letters, interviews. those are your literature sources. Even poems and biographies can be a literature source. Diba? For studies, we have peer-reviewed research journals, and these can be accessed online. There are a lot of peer-reviewed research journals, unpublished thesis and dissertation, okay, government reports and others. These are your sources. But the question now is how to write. Okay, we have identified sources. So there are so many sources. It will now be up to us how can we locate these sources. The question now is how to write. Yun, paano ba ako magsusulat ng RRLF? Ang dami ko naman nakuha na study. Ang dami ko nang nakuha ang literature. Ang dami ko nang na-print. 'Di ba? So, na-print mo na pagkadami-dami, pero hindi mo alam paano mo siya hihimayin. Paano mo siya gagamitin sa study mo. So, to write an RRLS, we have to decide on themes. What will be the themes? Based on your study, you should focus on themes, no? And look into related topics that will form part of that theme. So we decide first on the theme. Based on your study, we can identify aspects, variables, and significant topics. By identifying these variables and significant topics, you can now get you can now put into, di ba? Itatapon-tapon na natin sila kung saan sila dapat kasama. Try to box it all together, sort it all together according to their themes. Because if we will not decide on themes, we have so many. We have voluminous studies printed, but we don't know how to group them all together. So the first thing is, paano mo ma-connect sa focus ng study mo ang paano mo ma-connect sa focus ng study mo ang RRLF? Because you are looking into the variables of your study. By looking into the variables of your study, the variables should be part of your study. And these will be your themes. So try to group them all together and relate them all together. Right. We have to read and evaluate. A lot of reading and evaluating. By read and evaluate literature and studies to be included in your study by focusing on themes identified. Minsan, akala natin part na siya niyan, ng theme na yan, na pinag-identify natin. For example, performance-based bonus, strategic management. So you would identify themes on productivity, incentives, diba? And then group them all together. But when you read again and evaluate, you would say, I think this is not part of my literature, and maybe I can struck them out of my literature because it's not part of it. So read and evaluate, strike them out if it's not necessary. Very important is to paraphrase. Of course, you have sorted a lot of literature, you have printed a lot of literature, but it's not in RRLS, it's not just copy pasting, putting them all together to arrive to a 15-page literature. We have to paraphrase, we have to write the topic sentence and then organize and paraphrase the literature and studies, because if not, we're actually copy pasting what has been previously printed. So it's very important that we paraphrase. We use transition words. Later on in my topic on variation patterns, there is a specific topic on transition words, because this will link together and then, link together and will give you a road sign to where you are leading. So there should be transition words. Don't just put sentence 1, 2, 3, diba? Adding them all together. There should be a connection. There should be a contrasting opinion if needed. So transition word is very important. And okay, recheck the content and make adjustment if necessary. Sa paulat-ulat ninyong binabasa yung document niyo, yung paper niyo, makikita talaga ninyo na parang ang dami, parang konti, parang hindi related. So recheck again, do it again. Make necessary adjustment if necessary, because until it's not published, there's still a chance for you to recheck it. Okay. Now, let's see this one. What is the structure of a literature review? I said a while ago about the pyramid apex, okay? And the pyramid apex would hold your paper together and make sure that you are coherently connected, that you are on the right direction. So the background of your paper should be vast, should be so broad and vast that would give you a picture of what you're studying, and then narrowing it down together to a smaller category because you have focused now on themes, diba? And by focusing on the theme, you will now have a picture here of what is really important in my study and what driving it through to your hypothesis. By literature review, we start with a very general framework down to specific, no? That's the reason why we have so much rechecking, re-evaluating, because from so general concept, we look into what is really needed in my literature review. What content should be included in my literature review. Yeah. So this will be our literature structure, right? From a general to a specific, from a background, very big background, to a narrower categories, giving you down to your focus and down to what you want to prove as your hypothesis. Now, because we have so much literature available online in the library, you have printed them all together. The tendency now is just copy pasting, putting them all together. But no, we have to avoid it. And one thing that we have to avoid is waffling. What is waffling? Waffling, parang waffles. Okay, in Belgium, waffles is their favorite. So we have to avoid so much waffles in our literature. But how do we do it? What is waffling? Waffling is speaking or writing at length in vague and lengthy manner that fails to get to the point, and it's so descriptive. You just put them all together, write them all together. It's so lengthy, but it's so vague. Okay. And it would appear that it's just describing what you have printed, what you have researched. So it would appear so descriptive. It's not critical, it's descriptive. So we have to avoid waffling because we have to avoid being descriptive in our literature writing. Remember, when it is a scientific paper and you want to publish your paper, it should be critical. But it's so difficult to say how to make our paper critical, diba? Our professor will not just say, our professor will say, oh, your paper is so descriptive. Your paper is so descriptive. Try to be critical. Well, I've heard it before. My professor told me that before. Try to be critical, but he didn't told me how to be critical, diba? How to be critical. So let's find out how to be critical by avoiding waffling. And why to avoid it? Just like waffles, if you love waffles, it's so high in calories but low in nutrients. So we have to avoid it because waffling, it's so high in words, so many words, very wordy but very low in arguments. That's the reason why we have to avoid it. And then how are we going to avoid it? We have to be argumentative and critical by reviewing literature to support a clear point with a clear overarching purpose or goal in mind. That's basically going back to the pyramid apex, no? It should stand, okay? Our argument should stand by looking into different literature and by pointing out where are we leading, diba? We have to answer what is really the purpose of putting into this literature in my study. What is the point of including this author of this paper? Because you want to drive into the pyramid apex of your literature, the what is in your paper. So that's the pyramid apex. Yeah, okay, the so what, not the what so. Okay, so the pyramid apex is the so what. Why have you included this? Okay, so what? The so what. So what your main point towards the everything else is leading and on which the inverted pyramid balances. Diba? Now, in literature writing, okay, no matter how much you put words into it, for as long as it is directed towards your pyramid apex and it would answer the so what in your paper, it's not waffling. But if you are just putting all those words in your paper to make it appear thick, then maybe you're putting too much calories in your paper but low in nutrients, and that is basically waffling. So going back here to our literature review, always remember that your literature should always should always direct towards the pyramid apex, and all the content would have a focus towards what you want to answer in your paper, from a general to a specific content. Now, we say that, okay, ma'am, you're talking about waffling. How can we see it in our paper and consider it as waffling, di ba? Kasi parang minsan waffling na pala yan, pero hindi natin alam na, oh, yun na pala yun. Okay. So, what is waffling or being so descriptive? It may be, eto, pwedeng mag-appear to sa paper natin, no? Describing how or where a study was conducted when the focus is on the results. Kasi di ba, when we are writing a literature, our focus would be the result. But in your paper, in your literature, you focus on describing where the study was conducted. So it's basically being descriptive. So you said, U 2020 conducts a case study analysis in China. So what? That he studied his case study analysis in China. So what? What's the focus on the result? Let's focus on the result. These statements is basically waffling in your related literature. It's being too descriptive. Another, describing what a researcher did and not what they found, diba? So, sinabi natin sa literature natin, Gonzalez 2019 discusses white bias in hiring practices. So what? Anong na-find out niya, diba? Sa research niya. So ano naman kung diniscuss niya yung white bias in hiring process? What about? It's actually being descriptive, and that is waffling. And another, describing the main topic of a book or a paper rather than a specific and relevant message. For example, Kazmarek 2018 provides a comprehensive account of grounded theory that covers its definition and typical application. Okay, thank you to Kazmarek because he provided a comprehensive account of grounded theory. But I'm interested in what is the definition of grounded theory and the typical application of grounded theory. So I don't need a description of what Kazmarek did on the grounded theory, but I want the result. Okay, so that's something that we have to avoid when we do literature writing. Okay, and of course, paborito ko yung pyramid apex eh. Lacking the pyramid apex. We are being too descriptive if we lack the pyramid apex. How are we going to check if we're writing something and it's lacking pyramid apex? Na akala natin okay na, but oh, hindi pala. I'm lacking the pyramid apex in my paper. So let's have an example here. Okay. Ano ba to? Sige. If you want to read this one or have a screenshot of this, this is an example. Walkinshaw and Dong in 2012 found that students valued experience, qualification, friendly personality, enthusiasm, ability to make classes interesting, as well as understanding students' culture more highly than nativeness. Jean 1996 showed that Chinese EFL students valued knowledgeable, patient, empathetic teachers most highly, while EFL students in Thailand appreciate. Students have not been found to appreciate their teachers' pedagogical qualification and background. So what? Diba? It's not going anywhere. What do you want to point out in your paper? It's lacking pyramid apex because there is no direction. There is, you cannot answer the so what in your paper. So it's not just putting all together what is related in your paper. There should be a road sign, a direction. And if you just put them all together, maybe it's lacking the pyramid apex, and it's just a tambak-tambak of literature. Okay, so let's avoid this one. Let's avoid waffling in our paper. The sample is taken from How to Write a Literature Review from Start to Finish from one of the resources I have read. Okay, by avoiding waffling, let's try to be argumentative and be critical. Now, how can we argumentative and critical in our literature review? Diba? So we can have a succinct presentation by cutting information that is purely descriptive and does not advance the argument. If it's purely descriptive and and if it's just describing what the paper was about and not focusing on the result of the paper, then maybe you can cut the discussion and go directly to the argument. So let's have a succinct presentation. For the relevance, the presenting the information that is relevant to support the pyramid apex. So if your focus is to critic the previously used methodologies, don't present the result. And if you're focusing on the result, then don't focus on the methodology. So know your theme, know what you're trying to argue, because if you do not know what you're trying to argue, maybe you are putting so much content that is irrelevant. So look into the relevance of your content of your RRL. Clear direction. There's we have to put in our mind that we're always going towards a predefined pyramid apex. What I see it in my perspective, when I say my pyramid apex, it is my roadmap, the direction towards the completion of my research, or how I can have a better picture of my research. That's my pyramid apex. So in our literature, we should always have a predefined pyramid apex, our direction. And in having that, what we will put into our literature will always be relevant. Okay. And of course, to be argumentative, we should have a defined position. We should present a clear position and supporting it with literature. If what you want to prove is that this is the advantage of having a productivity incentive among employees, then your position and your literature should present literature that is in support to the advantage of having a productivity incentive among employees. Okay, so to avoid waffling in our literature, to avoid so much words but without nutrients in our literature, let's try to be argumentative and having a predefined pyramid apex and having a defined position in our literature. So let's have an example here on how we can be argumentative. Okay. Secondly, it is important to note that although there are some indications misplaced word stress might at times affect intelligibility, Lewis and Detering 2018, these instances of misunderstanding are very rare. For example, out of 183 tokens, okay, yeah, there is a statement here, okay, as stressed by Lewis and Detering in 2018, okay, the author would want to emphasize what Lewis and Detering said in 2018. Also, bearing this in mind, it is argued, okay, going back, bearing this in mind, it is argued here, okay, so you are trying to argue that what you included here or what was stated by Lewis and Detering in 2018 is really relevant in your current study. So hindi lang basta natin kinopya or pinag-paraphrase yung sinabi ni Lewis and Detering in 2018, but you would want to convince your reader that there is something you want to argue in the paper by putting emphasis kung ano ang sinabi ni Lewis and Detering in 2018. So we can avoid waffling by trying to be argumentative also in our paper, not just copy pasting or paraphrasing what the previous author said. We can also avoid waffling by being critical. By being critical, we are not being descriptive. And we can be critical by first acknowledging the limitations of research, like the previously conducted research. Or you can be critical by defending your position, by presenting valid counter arguments, because here you will not just state what they have said, but you can have counter arguments. If in my literature, I have emphasized the advantages of having a productivity incentive among government employees, then maybe by being critical, I can also present what are the disadvantages of just providing so many bonuses to government employees. So you are presenting a valid counter arguments. And these valid counter arguments are not just arguments that you want to argue. These are based on your literature. So you can be critical by also defending your position by presenting a valid counter arguments. For example, here, let's have an example. Earlier, I have said that to be critical, we also have to state the limitation of the study, and we also have to argue to provide counter arguments. Now, let's have an example here. This one. Finally, there is evidence indicating that pronunciation syllabus based on LFC feature is more effective in improving students' pronunciation than one based on standard British or American English. Rahimi Ruzuro 2016. While this might be due to the lower number, okay? So you are now trying to be critical by considering the limitation of the study, and you are trying to argue by saying that it is nevertheless an important finding further supporting basing pronunciation teaching on LFC feature. So, makikita natin sa paggawa ng literature na hindi lang talaga natin kinopya kung ano ang sinabi ni Rahimi, but we tried to argue it, okay? We tried to provide counter arguments and focused also on the limitation of the study. So, hindi tayo naging descriptive. Kapag hindi tayo naging descriptive, ibig sabihin na avoid natin yung waffling na nagsulat tayo ng napakaraming salita na wala namang nutrients na makakatulong sa research natin. So this is how we can be critical. This one taken from one of the paper from Kik Joa. Okay. Okay, I have said that to be critical, we have to acknowledge the limitation of the research. We also have to defend your position by presenting a valid counter arguments. Okay, your valid counter argument should also be based from literature. And this one is very good. To be a critical, you have to present opposing point of view and critique it. Okay. So by presenting opposing point of view, makikita mo talaga na, nag-aaway-away pala ang mga author, iba-iba pala ang sinasabi nila. And you want to highlight this opposing view. So by highlighting this opposing view, you are also analyzing ano yung sinabi nila. And by analyzing it, you are critical in your literature writing. You're not just copy-pasting, but you are digging deeper on what they have said. So it's presenting opposing point of view and critiquing it. How can it be done? Okay, so here in this example, okay, one part of a literature, on the first part, you have presented the position. On the first statement, many researchers use acronyms NS, NNS, NEST, and okay, to refer to native and non-native speaker teachers. Okay. Arguably, okay, you have presented a position. Arguably, this approach has been very successful in terms of giving scholars interested in this issue a voice. Okay, continue. Nevertheless, okay, one important issue that has utterly failed at is bringing about a more level professional playing field between the two groups. So you're now trying to critique, okay, and trying to point out even if there is a present possession initially stated in your first sentence, you are trying to critic in the succeeding sentence the content of the present possession. And that is being critical. Okay, but by critiquing it, it's not actually critiquing it using now your own words. I remember when I was in college, I'm doing my research na gusto ng professor ko ang RRL ay may. Sige, basahin ko to. Ay may, ano yun? Ay may argument sa mga authors. Okay, thank you, Marlon. Yeah, eto. Eto yung sinasabi ng mga professors na, oh, your paper is so descriptive. You try to be critical. But the professor will not say how it is to be critical. And then hindi naman sa atin tinuro kung paano maging critical pagdating sa pagsulat ng paper. So, eto yon. I-argue mo yung mga sinasabi ng mga dati at ng iba. Papag-awayin mo sila, okay? Papag-awayin mo sila. But in doing that, you are arguing, okay? You are arguing what was previously stated and trying to make a point. Okay, that is being critical, and that is not waffling. Thank you for that, Marlon. So to sum up here in waffling, according to Marek, one of the key things in literature review is avoiding waffling or being descriptive. We need to present a clear argument throughout. Keep the pyramid apex in mind. Okay, the pyramid apex, the inverted pala, ganito pala. Okay, the pyramid apex. And present only relevant points that are taking you towards it. Remember the roadmap that I said. Critically analyze the previous studies, pointing out their limitations, acknowledge differing points of view, but maintain a clear, well-resonated position. If you can keep that in mind, okay, you are in the right direction in your literature writing. You are not waffling. You are not eating so much waffles, even if you love waffles, okay? So there's not too many words into it, and lacking nutrients, diba? Waffling, too many words, but lacking nutrients, lacking content. But if you focus on this, to focus on your argument throughout your study, then you are avoiding waffling. Why I have focused on this? Again, to write a literature review and studies, siguro, isa na to sa pinakamadaling part sa mga researcher. Kasi ang dami na nating pwedeng mahanap ngayon. Unlike before, na talagang kailangan pupunta talaga sa library, no? As in, very, very mano-mano ang paggawa ng mga literature review. But now, everything is online and you have a lot of sources. So, madali na ang paggawa. But the question now is how you put them all together. And when we try to put them all together, we tend to waffle so much, or we tend to talk so much, to write so much. That's not significant in our study. So I hope as a researcher, we can avoid waffling. We can do that when we want coffee, but not in our paper writing. Okay? Is that okay pa? It's okay, Doc. Take your time. Okay. So I hope you learned something from that second part of our discussion. Let's now proceed. Okay. Now, here's now the scenario. You have so many sources. Ang daming online sources. Diba? Dami mo nang pig-print. Libre mag-print sa opisina. Maraming salamat kahit yung backpage ng bond paper. So, you have so many sources. How can we now summarize ideas from various sources? Kasi limited din lang naman ang ilalagay mo sa literature part mo, di ba? Limited lang. How can you stock them all together? Join them all together? So that would be your question. So here, the challenge now is how we can summarize ideas from various sources. How can we do it? How can we do it? Let's take a look at this one. It's a very lengthy paragraph. Okay. In a literature, sabi dito, between 1932 and 1968, chemical company Chizo knowingly released industrial wastewater containing mercury in the Minamata Bay and Shiro Sea. the mercury accumulated in sea life, which was consumed as a staple food. A first victim, later cloned Minamata disease, was hospitalized. Okay. Due to lack of data and high degree of stigmatization, the number of people affected lies somewhere. Following the first lawsuit, reading this all together, there's so much information, but you're actually just looking into one reference, diba? So that's the problem with this part of a literature. There's so much information, but isang reference lang ang ginamit niya. Isa lang nga ba talaga ang reference nito? Or meron kang ibang kinuhanan nito, pero it appeared like you just put them all together and just wrote Ministry of Environment 2011. So, kailangan natin mas summarize ang napakaraming resources natin na ginagamit sa literature and put them all together to make it appear that it's not copy-pasting a lot of information based only on one reference. Okay. So how to summarize? What is it? How do we summarize? When we summarize information, kung anong narinig natin sa isa, pinasa sa atin, iba na yung meaning, ilinipat natin, no? It's not like that, no? What is it? It's using reference to more than one study to support a single point. So we use references, not just one study, and we group them all together to support a single point. It's summarizing information. Why do we do it? Bakit nga ba natin ito ginagawa? Pwede namang copy-paste, paraphrase, di ba? Pahirap naman si ma'am, pahirap naman. So, we do it to show that you have read widely, that you have sum up years, decades of research. It also adds validity to your points, and it also increases your objectivity. So, minsan makikita natin sa mga paper no na ang daming author na nakapaloob sa isang sentence because we summarize the information from various sources and put them all together to support a single point. That's how we do summarizing. And when we do it, when do we do it? We do summarizing to support key points when several studies, napakaraming studies yielded several similar results, and when summarizing what we know thus far about a phenomenon. So instead of copying them all together, adding them into different paragraphs, di ba? Kasi para-parehas yung result nila. We now hinalo-halo natin sila. We group them together because yung mga sinabi naman nila ay similar results din lang naman. So we summarize information from various sources. Bakit kailangan natin gawin yon? Bakit kailangan natin mag-summarize? Because in summarizing and making sure that you want to drive at a single point, but by using so much reference, it appears in our paper that you have read a lot of literature, that you have a decade of research experience, and maybe your reader will believe what you're trying to say in your paper because it is supported by summarized results. Right? So here, let's have a look at this. Here's an example of how we have summarized information from various sources. Several studies have dealt with Mirang on or similar system. Other studies have aimed to improve the nutritional quality of Mirang by incorporating sugar replacer. And now here are the sources, okay, or constituents with high fiber or mineral content. And here are now your sources. Even others have evaluated the foam forming ability and microstructure. And here are now your sources. By these relative terms, you can now say na, oh, these are based or these are, from different studies, and you have summarized them all. So that's how we can do summarizing information from various sources. Okay, now the question now here, eto, problema talaga to, lalo na ng mga editor, no? Paano ba talaga, ma'am, ang tenses na gagamitin namin sa literature namin? Kung babalikan natin to, paano ba yun? Babalikan natin to. Ano mga ginamit natin dito? When we have summarized information from various sources, okay, we have used the word several studies have dealt with, other studies have aimed to, others have evaluated. Okay. So, when we summarize resources from summarize resources to point to a single argument, the appropriate tense that we should use is a present perfect. And a present perfect, what is it? Sige, mag-i-Englishing tayo dito ng slight lang. Hindi naman ako English major, pero ito yung kailangan natin gamitin pag sa part na to when we are summarizing to drive to a single point. So the present perfect has or have plus the past participle or the third form of the verb. So example, several studies have dealt with mirang or similar system, and we use it. Okay, not all the time, not all the time, and not all the time you will be using a present perfect tense in your literature review. You only use this one, the has, have, past participle, third form, verb in your literature to sum up years or decades of research connecting the past with the present. Like several studies have shown that since 2010, there have been a development in recent decades. Okay, there have been an improvement in like this and like that. So, ibig sabihin, depende sa gamit natin ng mga literature ang tenses din natin. If your literature, if you have summed up literature to point at a single argument, then you are using a present perfect in your literature part. All right? Hindi tayo English major dito meron din tayong editor na mag-check ng paper natin. But it would be good if in our writing, alam na natin kung anong gagawin natin na tense pa din. No? Yeah. So, okay. So, summarizing information from various sources. Okay. Let's have a look here. Sabi ko kanina, not all the time, okay? Not all the time, you would be using a present perfect in your literature. Look at this one. The word perceived is very important here because scholars recognize now that speakerhood, similarly to race, is not biological, but rather a socially construed trait. Okay, according to the author. Indeed, Davis points out that, linguistically speaking, there are no grounds to maintain the distinction between native and non-native speakers. It appears rather that speakerhood is assigned on the basis of social and contextual factors such as ethnic background and so on and so forth. What is the tense here? Diba? This is also summarizing, but the tense here is not the same with the present perfect. Yan, may mga English major ba akong ano dito? It's now on the present tense. Why is that? Bakit naman ang present tense na? You know what? In our literature writing, 90% in our RRLS is actually in the present simple tenses. Because, okay, what is it? Present simple. The base verb form S with the third person, it's what you're gonna see in your literature. 90% of that is in a present simple tenses. Okay. So example, Davis 2003 points out that linguistically speaking, there are no grounds to maintain. Okay. Bakit present simple? Because you are trying to, anong tawag doon? What's the exact word that I have used in my discussion here? Trying to point, a finding, a result. Tama ba? Okay, makikita natin yan mamaya. So, it's a present simple. Yan. Why we use it? Ito pala. Why we use it? We use a present simple and 90% of that in our RRLS when we present facts, we present arguments or results from the literature. That is basically different from, okay, this is basically different from the previous slide where most a part of your literature might be presented in a present perfect tenses because here you use it to sum up years or decades of research connecting the past with the present. And you are summarizing what they have studied in the past and presenting it in your study. So you're using a present perfect here. But mostly in our paper, when we try to present facts and arguments or results from the literature, we're actually doing that in a present simple tense. And mostly of our RRLS is in this tense. So, okay. Ano na yung nauna? What is RRLS? Waffling. And then summarizing. And then in summarizing at times, okay, when we summarize at times, pati ako nawawala, we try to focus on one study in more detail. Yan. Minsan, may paborito talaga tayo. May paborito tayong basahin, may paborito tayong libro, and we feel that this book or literature or study has so much relevance in our paper, and we want to focus on this study and integrate that in our paper. So how can we do it? How can we focus on one study in more detail? Mm, let's try to ask first, what is it? What is focusing on one study in more detail? I hope may nakikinig pa sa akin. Oy, Marlon, friend na tayo. Marami akong natutunan ngayon. Bigyan nga to ng jacket, Ma'am Bernadette. Okay. So, what is it? What is focusing on one study? It is presenting one particular study in greater detail in more than one sentence. So, di ba sabi natin, my favorite tayo minsan na libro, and you want to really introduce that in your paper without making it appear so descriptive. Okay, so, yun, isa-summarize natin siya, mag-focus tayo sa isang study, pero magiging critical tayo sa discussion. So, we want to present one particular study in greater detail in more than one sentence. Why we do it? Bakit tayo mag-focus sa one study? Favorite ko eh. Gusto ko tong author na to, di ba? We do it to add specific information that is necessary to support one argument. We do it because by focusing on one study, it may support my hypothesis. It may back up the theory I am building, diba? So we do it to add specific information that is necessary to support one argument. So when do we do it? When do we focus one study in more detail? Remember, the study is key and the detail is required to take us to the pyramid apex. So even if we focus to one study and providing more detail to it, we have to make sure that we are on the right track, because maybe we're just copy-pasting everything that has been printed in a previous study and putting it in our paper. We can focus on one study in more detail if we are providing methodological details, okay? We're looking into how it was done. So, syempre, hindi mo naman yan pwedeng sabihin na, okay, the paper used this method. Hindi. You have to argue how it was conducted. So, you can focus on one study if there is a need to provide a methodological details. Okay. And you want to present several key points introduced in one work. The several key points would like first, second, third, di ba? Kasi dami, tatlo ang gusto niyang i-argue ng paper na yon. So you want to focus on in more detail on that paper by presenting several key points. So you can have first, second, and third. And you can also focus when you want to critique a study. Syempre, when you critique a study, you do not just say, I don't like it, diba? You have to provide details why you do not want it or why is it in the negative. So you're critiquing a study. And you can focus on one study in more detail when you want to detail the result. You want to make sure that himay-himayin natin ang result na to. Kasi etong result ng study na to dati ay malamang grabe ang epekto sa aking current study. Naririnig ba ninyo ang nagda-drums? Sana hindi naman. Naririnig din nyo? Okay, kasi may ano kami. May misa kami sa baba. Okay. So, several key points. Focusing on one study, example natin, para makita natin na, ito pala, focusing on one study. by focusing on several key points. Paano kaya to ginagawa ng mga researcher? Naririnig pa naman ako? Hindi naman. Okay. Okay. Kasi may nagda-drum sa baba eh. May misa kami sa baba. So, here is an example. However, Widowson 1994 highlights that while the intimate relationship a native speaker has with the language might make them an expert informant on some aspect of a language, it certainly does not a priori convert them into an expert instructor. He also further criticizes. Now we're referring to Widowson by not copying again or putting again the word Widowson in the next sentence. He also further criticizes the notion that native speakers are better suited for teaching English, pointing out that this group is not exactly well known for acquiring languages and so on and so on. So, di ba, isang paragraph siya, pero more than siyang one sentence. And yung two sentence na yon is actually focusing on the study alone by Widowson in 1994 by just criticizing how he would want to point out that native speakers are better suited to teach English language. Okay? So we focused on one study, but it did not appear waffling. No, it did not appear like copy pasting of what Widowson said in 1994 because he is trying to argue also what notion he would want to share to the reader. That's how we focus on one study. Next, discussing what a researcher did. Okay, eto din. Tingnan naman ninyo ha, hinighlight ko na naman yung mga tenses. Kasi pati ako, bakit to ganito? Bakit analyze? Okay. Discussing what a researcher did. So here, we can use relative clauses. Okay? By using relative clauses, makikita ninyo na hindi na siya nasa present tense. Okay? For example, Serb and Rose 2016, who analyzed 4 EFL course books in Germany, highlight that from 29 interaction, which we were supposed to showcase authentic language use, 25 involve only native speakers. Who analyzed here, we're referring to Serb and Rose. Diba? These are relative clauses that can also be used to link what they have said before. And if you're going to note, hindi siya katulad okay. Saan ba? Wait. Okay. Please note on the tenses ha, kasi kanina nag present perfect tayo, tapos bigla tayong nag present tense na sinabi ko, mostly 90% of our paper, of our content in the RRLS will be in the present tense. Now here, when we use relative clauses to discuss what a researcher did, wala na, hindi na naman tayo present tense, but it is acceptable because we are discussing what a researcher did. So what did Serb and Rose did in 2016? They have analyzed, okay? That is the relative clause used in this RRLS. Who analyzed 4 EFL course books? So, kailan ba natin gagamitin or paano natin gagamitin yung mga relative clauses also sa literature? We can use who to add more information about a researcher, the word who, like Yang 2011, who studied this issue in Vietnam. Yan. May relative clause tayo, but still what he wants to point out is in the present tense concludes that. Okay, we used a relative clause, but again, it's still the thought is still in this tense. Another, use which or that to add more information about a study. Okay, we want to add more information about a study, and we say in a study which investigated this issue in Vietnam. So that's the relative clause. Yang 2011 concluded that. Diba? That's a relative clause. Or we can remove which or that. Kasi sabi natin, ulit-ulit na lang ako ng which or that. Why don't I use the ing form? Is it acceptable? Yes, it is acceptable. So we can say, in a study investigating this issue in Vietnam, Yang 2011 concluded that. diba? So discussing what a researcher did, when we want to highlight what we want to discuss what a researcher did, remember it is in the past simple. So, ibig sabihin, hindi pala lahat na makikita natin sa literature ay lahat nasa present tense, lahat nasa present perfect, hindi lahat nasa simple past, okay? Because it depends on what you are writing, on what you want to point out in your literature. If you want to discuss, no, you want to discuss what a researcher did, then you're going to use a past simple. That's why we use it here, who analyzed. It's a relative clause referring to Serb and Rose. Okay, highlighted that. So, what are this past simple? Nako, ang dali-dali. Grade 1, di ba? Grade 1 to sa atin, mga past simple. Past simple, the verb ed form, but there are some irregular verbs that may be used in our research. Lead, led, deal, dealt, find, found. So, but there are only very few irregular verbs, kaya napakadali lang ng past simple when, okay, past simple, when you want to discuss what a researcher did. Okay. Sige. Mamaya, magbibigay ako ng parang matrix kung ano yung pwedeng gamitin, anong tense ang pwedeng gamitin, para makita ninyo in a picture, okay, ito pala yun. So, if you want to talk about methodologies or what the researcher did, now, past simple, the statement would be past simple, and that's how it will appear in your RRL. Okay, so we have done discussing the 3 topics. Dapat bilisan ko na to. Okay, tapos na tayo sa backgrounder ng RRLS, waffling, or what to avoid in writing, about summarizing and focusing on topic. Okay, dito na tayo sa pattern variation. What is pattern variation in related literature and studies? Hindi kasi pwede na sa literature natin, pare-parehas na firstly, secondly, thirdly, fourthly, ayan, walang pattern variation doon. Hindi din pwede makita sa literature mo na however, consequently, parang ganun na lang na ano ba gusto nito? Para lang ba to magkaroon ng linking words kaya naglagay ng ganito, 'di ba? So, hindi natin madidirect towards the pyramid apex if we will be very descriptive, if we will be monotonous in our paper writing. And eventually, if there is no pattern variation, our paper is so boring na parang napaka-descriptive na natin kasi kinopya-kopya lang natin kung ano nakuha natin literature. So, pattern variation is very important in literature writing. Again, sabi ko kanina, alam na natin kung saan kukuha ng literature. Alam na natin na napakaraming literature online. Pero ang problema natin, paano natin isusulat ang mga literature sa 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 isang ano ba 'yan? Ang hirap mag-Tagalog. How we can put together all this literature and make it appear very scholarly by not appearing very monotonous. Okay, so pattern variation is very important. Okay, now when do we use a pattern variation? What is it? Diba? It's very simple, pagka-iba-iba, varying how we refer to the literature and studies, and what structure and vocabulary we use to do so. For example, nauuna yung na-highlight muna yung author and when it was published. So, you 2020, blah, 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 blah. Or we started with the result and then we ended with the author and when it was published. So, it's a pattern variation. Kasi hindi pwede na puro parehas na U 2020, Y 2020, X 2020, di ba? So there's no pattern variation. It's just typically ano yun, ulit-ulitizing. Yan, inuulit-ulit lang natin. In pattern variation, we make it appear like there is pagkaiba-iba. But it is done in a scholarly manner. Why do we do it? Ito na naman tayo sa why. Bakit ang daming why sa research? We do it to avoid repetition and maintain a more coherent flow towards the pyramid apex. Diba? To to avoid repetition, kasi hindi talaga pwede na firstly, secondly, thirdly, fourthly, fifthly, inubos mo na yung lahat na pwede mong sabihin or however, moreover, ayan. Pero hindi mo talaga makita kung saan patutungo yung discussion mo. Now, we use pattern variation to avoid this happening in our paper and make sure that there is a coherent flow of words, coherent literature towards that apex you are creating in your paper, diba? Because bear in mind that literature review is not just a listing of sources, diba? Literature review is not just piling them all together, copy pasting. Remember, literature review is a coherent argument, no? It's a coherent argument based from different sources towards the apex of our research. That's why we do it. And how do we do it? Yan ang pinaka-importante, ma'am. Paano ko ba gagawin yung pattern variation? Diba? We use variety of specific reporting words. Can be shows, demonstrates, reveals, concludes, highlights. You can change between end and beginning of sentence references like this one, you 2020, or maybe at the end part, starting with the result and then the author at the last. Or we can now emphasize different points like the action, the researcher, the study, the time. Pero eto, paano naman namin to, ma'am, gagawin? How do we do pattern variation by pointing into the action, by pointing into the researcher, by pointing into the study, or by pointing into the time? Diba? So, gawin natin, mas maganda, di ba, pag may example tayo para we can have a picture of it. So, when we try to do a pattern variation by emphasizing the researcher, you want to emphasize researcher. So, how do we do it? Several studies have dealt with Miram or similar system law, and Dickinson, you are emphasizing here the researcher, showed that decreasing the invert, okay, Rykos, you emphasize the researcher. By emphasizing the researcher, you tend to put emphasis on them, the researcher. That's why they appeared mostly at the start of the sentence. Diba? They appeared mostly at the start of the sentence. But when you emphasize the topic, okay, when you emphasize the topic, the purpose is to review the main topic in the study or what was done in the research. So here, other studies have aimed to improve the nutritional quality of meringue by incorporating sugar replacers. So you use this have aimed because that was the purpose why the study was conducted and what they want to answer in that study. Diba? So, hindi siya nagsimula sa, Charon, Hayana, Matsumo, and Ogawa 2014 points the nutritional quality of meringue by incorporating sugar replacers. But here, in your literature, you want to emphasize the main topic in the study and what was done in the study. Diba? So, that's one way of how we can have a pattern variation, di ba? Yung pinakaunang pattern variation natin, the focus is, sino yung focus natin? Researcher. Pangalawang pattern variation natin, ang focus natin, yung topic because you want to put emphasis on the topic. Ang third variation natin, emphasizing the investigation or the time. Here, magandang style na to, especially on historical researches or for those who want to establish a chronological order of events or findings, then these can be used to emphasize the investigation or time. For example, here, in a classic study, Mosso 2006 found that true, okay? 10 years later, and then more recently, similar findings were also obtained. Diba? So, merong pattern variation kasi hindi lang pare-parehas nag-i-start dun sa pangalan ng author, 'di ba? Kailan na-publish and then findings or the other way around. But the investigation or the time, in emphasizing the investigation or time can also be a pattern variation that may look very scholarly, that may look very research kasi, ang tagal na pala nitong nagbabasa. Isipin mo, 10 years ago pa yung mga papers na nakuha niya, and then it was supported by a recent study, diba? So it's a pattern variation. Again, here on the investigation or time, we look into the chronological development of study. Okay, so tingnan natin tong pattern variation na to kasi sample ko siya. For example, pattern variation when your focus is on the researcher. Okay, here. Your focus is on the researcher. If you're going to analyze it, di ba? Laging nauuna yung mga pangalan ng researcher followed by here, and then ano yung nakuha nila, ano yung gusto nilang palabasin, di ba? But if your focus is on the topic, iba naman ang style nila. In order to better or fully or further understand the effects of blank, Lu 2019 examined this. So the focus is on the topic, or to determine, establish the blank, Gonzalez 2013, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So yeah. If your focus is the time, eto siguro ang pinakamadaling maintindihan, no? Your focus is the time, you would want to look into the chronological order of events and findings, and these one may be appropriate in your pattern variation. So dito sa slide na to, makikita ninyo tatlong pattern variation na because I have 7 ata dito eh. So here, the researcher, topic, and time. Next, highlighting what a researcher did, and then highlighting what a researcher did in their study using a relative clauses. So when you highlight what a researcher did, tingnan niyo dito, it's stated like this. Okay, Martinez 2019 studied the effect, impact, role of. Okay, Martinez aimed to improve remember what a researcher did, and the focus is on the topic and what they have found out. Yeah. When you want to highlight what a researcher did in their study using relative clauses, so you would use the who, that, which, yeah, diba? Who studied this issue in Vietnam concludes that was the first researcher who or that addressed this problem, which that investigated this issue. So there are relative clauses used in your statement sa RRL natin. And last but not the least, a pattern variation which is mostly used in most literature, or I would say 90% of literature is using this pattern variation, okay, can be like this. According to Zhang 2018, Zhang 2018 argues that, Patel 2015 claims that, suggests, proposes, as observed. Okay. So as you can see, when in a literature you want to point out a researcher's position, we can go back to the tenses, and it's mostly in the present tenses. These pattern variation can be adopted, diba, when you are trying to present a researcher's position. But if you want to ano, diba? Kasi iba-iba, if you want to focus on the time or to what the researcher did or on the topic, it is of different tenses. Again, different tenses using different variation depending on how you use it in your literature. Okay? Depending on how you use it in your literature. So, magpapaka-editor pa tayo pagdating sa literature natin. Pero kung hindi natin kayang gawin all at the same time, at least we can know that there should be a pattern variation in our literature writing. And the other part of editing can be done by our editor. Okay. So, lapit na ba ako matapos? Okay. This one, our fifth topic, so 30 na. Hanggang alas 3 lang tayo, ano mo, Bernadette? Okay, so linking your ideas together, this is very important because this is the icing of the cake. We link our ideas together to drive us towards the pyramid apex. Because again, even if we have summarized a lot of literature, if we have not linked them all together, okay, and group them according to themes or how you want it to appear in your paper, these ideas cannot be considered as one, but these ideas are patapon-tapon na ideas ilinagay lang sa paper mo para lang magkalaman ang literature mo, 'di ba? Hindi natin gustong mangyari ang mga ganon. Thank you, Jasmine. Okay, so we link your ideas together. Yan, hirap. Pero madali. Madali lang kasi meron tayong mga tools paano natin malilink ang mga ideas natin together to make sure that we are driving towards one direction. Okay, driving towards one direction. How do we do it? What is it? Okay, what is linking our ideas together? It's using words and phrases that connects our ideas into a logical flow, diba? Firstly, secondly, finally, or one problem with this approach is this and that, and then you put on your second paragraph. Another problem with this approach is like this. So there is a link in your ideas because the reader can now have, okay, ito pala ang gustong sabihin. Oo, ito pala yun, di ba? So na-link natin kung ano yung sa unang sinasabi and then sa sunod na paragraph. So why do we do it? Kanina ko pa ito sinasabi, di ba? Si pyramid apex and then the road sign. We do it because we want to ensure coherence and guide the reader along the pyramid apex. We do this to ensure that what is written in our paper are all relevant and coherent and is driving towards one thought. Okay, that's why we have to link our ideas together. It is also like a road sign for us kasi yung direksyon na tinutuhog natin sa paper natin should be towards that, and that is our road sign. The link that we're going to use is step 1, step 2, leading us to a concluding part of our literature. Finally, making us understand na, okay, eto pala yun. Kaya naman pala, 'di ba? So we can now answer the so what? 'Di ba? Yun. So magiging sarcastic ka sa literature. Pagkatapos mong basahin yung literature ng kaibigan mo, so what? Oh, there's no pyramid apex here. Where are you leading? Oh, 'di ba? So, where do we do it? How can we link our ideas together? We do it within sentences, between paragraphs, between sections, between chapters. There are so many ways how we can link our ideas together, and how do we do it? We use linking words. Sabi ko may Englishing tayo kahit hindi tayo English major pagdating sa literature writing. So we use linking words, however, because the determiners, we use pronouns, we use relative clauses, who, which, that, and these are our help to link our ideas together. But we do not just use linking words for the sake of using a linking word to make it appear that we have linked our ideas. No, big no. Of course, we use these words to make sure that we are really driving towards one thought, not just for the sake of using it. Okay, example. Within sentences, we can say, although the sample size was not specifically powered to examine socio-demographic differences in self-monitoring behavior, it does represent. Remember, within sentences, although can only be used to link ideas within a sentence. It cannot be used to link ideas using two sentences, di ba? Kasi yung thought niya is only within that sentence. So we can link our ideas with that. And here, we can use different authors when we link our ideas together. We can also summarize when we link our ideas together. Another, we can link ideas together between sentences. And ito, yung una, within sentences, ito naman, between sentences, these results cannot be generalized to form of dietary self-monitoring. However, ito na si mga mahilig sa however, di ba? Moreover, okay. Yan, we can link ideas together by using this word between sentences. Ito naman, between paragraph. So, how do we link paragraph? Yan, si mga however dyan. Another, first paragraph, however, because you want to contradict or you want to criticize a previously stated study and you want to link it to your paper, however. Yan, okay. Si mga mahilig mag-however dyan sa literature. Between sections, eto. Consequently, in the following section, You're referring to the following section. You link your ideas because there is still another idea presented in the following section. Okay? Between chapters, in the following chapter, the study proper is discussed because in this page, you are discussing something, but you are trying to anticipate your reader that there is another thought connected to your current page, and that is in the following chapter. Okay, that's how you can link ideas together. So, my dear friends, remember, when we link an ideas together, there should be a story. Okay? There should be a story. RRLS is not just a piling up of researches to support our study, but there should be a story. And in having that story and in driving into that pyramid apex, we have to link our ideas together. Yeah, link our ideas together. Because if we cannot do that, maybe we are just waffling in our literature. We are putting so much words without nutrients, and that is becoming very descriptive. Right? Okay. So here, linking your ideas together. How do we do it? May kausap pa ba ako? Nandiyan pa ba kayo? Ako lang bang energetic dito? O may kausap pa ako? Bernadette, nandiyan pa ba kayo? So, we indeed transition words. Thank you iPhone. Walang pangalan yung iPhone. Here, ma'am. Okay, thank you, Elena. Now, we can link your ideas together by using addition words, adding similar information like in addition, moreover, additionally, still here, thank you. Furthermore, yung also, ginagamit din siyang linking sa mga RRLS, pero medyo informal kasi ang dating ng also, no? We can also contrast, no? Contrast. It can be within one sentence or between two sentences. Now, for within one sentence, you can use words like although, while, whereas, even though, despite the fact that, in spite of the fact that, yan. May Englishing tayo sa RRLS, no? Kahit hindi tayo English major. So, between two sentences, you can use words however, nonetheless, on the other hand, in contrast. And if you want to state your reason or within one sentence, since, because, due to, as, owing to the fact that. Consequence between two sentences, consequently, as a result, thus, hence, therefore. So is very informal, so I wouldn't advise to use so and also. So these are your linking ideas, tips to how you can link your ideas together because you have so much literature on your plate and you want to make sure you are driving on the right direction. Diba? Okay, now down to my last topic, how to search RRLS in a Google Scholar. This is very basic, no? Eto kasi talaga pwedeng gawin ng lahat ng estudyante. So, what you're gonna do, just go on to the Google Scholar page, not Google, but Google Scholar, and then you can type on your my God, what you want to look into, depending on the theme, no? There is also, paano ko ba to? I-stop share. Baka na naman kasi, Ma'am Bernadette, hindi na lang. Just picture it out. Just put on, type here the title or what you're searching. There is also a period for the year, what you want to look into, no? And everything can be found. There are so many literature that can be found in a Google Scholar. There is also a provision for sites there. Depending if it is APA, MLA, yan. I-click lang niyo yon. Very simple. But aside from that, aside from Google Scholar, no, there are also other RRL sites that you can look into, no, in your paper. So you can have a screenshot of this one. Or please also ask sa mga library ninyo kung ano yung mga open access journals nila kasi nagsusubscribe sila ng mga journals at for sure marami din kayong makikita doon, 'di ba? So these are RRL sites. Yan ang sobrang dami. Sobrang dami talaga na minsan nakakalula na napakarami na ninyong nakuha at hindi na ninyo alam kung ano ang ilalagay ninyo sa paper ninyo dahil napakarami na. Now, if you are faced with that kind of dilemma because you have searched a lot of RRLS, go back to these tips. Pinakauna, avoid waffling. Please avoid waffling by putting too much words, too much a lengthy paragraph, lengthy sentences, but it's actually very descriptive and you are not putting argument into it. So please avoid waffling. Okay? And when you are faced with voluminous literatures and studies, it's not just about copy pasting, but we have to be critical and develop an argument on how we can drive into the pyramid apex. Very important, we have to summarize information from various sources. Okay, by summarizing, we are also paraphrasing because when you summarize, you just get into what is the important in that paper. That means hindi mo talaga kinokopya kung ano ang content ng paper din. You are just summarizing information from various sources. And you can summarize from different sources, put them all together, maybe 5 sources to drive at one specific argument. Okay? And we can focus on one study in more detail. If you have a favorite, then you can focus on one study in more detail, but make sure you are not being too descriptive, you are not waffling. And always remember, in literature writing, we have to make sure it's not repetitive because when we appear to be repetitive, it's very elementary. Hindi pwede mag-appear na elementary tayo. Nag-MA na ako, ma'am. Dapat medyo high level. So, please incorporate varying your reference pattern, the variation pattern, no? Kung alin ang appropriate, you can also do that. And last but not the least, please make sure that no matter how much literature you have on your plate, link them all together. Okay? Link them all together and make sure that it is towards that pyramid apex. And thank you so much for listening. Meron pa akong 10 minutes from Bernadette. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you learned something, kahit isa, kahit dalawa. Or salamat din kasi nag-spend kayo ng time na makinig kahit na busy kayo. If you have question, pwede kayong magtanong dito. 'Di ba? Pwede mo magtanong dito. Pag hindi ko nasagot, ipapasa ko kay Bernadette. Or you can also send me a question in my email account, aprilzilazon@cspc.edu.ph because we have a very limited time. And at 3 o'clock, we will be attending the vigil to Inang Peña Francia. So thank you so much. God bless everyone. May we enjoy doing research because research is a way. Thank you so much. Pwede na ba ako mag-stop share? Stop share. Salamat po.
Thank you, Doc.
Nakamute ka. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Maraming thank you, thank you to. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Maraming thank you. Mag-i-start na While waiting for Mom Bernadette, I would like to thank the Center for Research and Development spearheaded by Professor Harold John Arterano, to the Vice President for Research Extension, Production, and Entrepreneurial Development, Dr. Chaliz Omorog, and the entire RepEd cluster for sponsoring this webinar series. I know many research enthusiasts are helped by this webinar series. And I also hope that we share this platform to our students and friends so that in the succeeding session, they can also join and learn from our researchers, from our experts. We cannot accommodate maybe most of your questions at the moment, but I really hope you learned something from me, and you can send me question if you have a question in my email account. Maraming salamat po. I am April Luzon. Nagpapasalamat po ng taus-puso sa pakikinig ninyo sa akin. Back to you, Ma'am Bernadette. Sorry, saan ka, Doc?
All right, so thank you so much, Dr. April, for that comprehensive discussion. So are there any more questions, comments, or clarifications from our participants?
I-email na lang daw nila sa akin or i-PM.
Hello, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. Hello.
Hi, I'm listening, pero hindi ko alam kung sino. Sino yun?
Hello po.
Good afternoon, sir. You may
Yep.
go ahead po.
May tanong lang ako. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is descriptive evaluative is not a very good research?
Descriptive evaluative is not a very good research.
Yes. Because from mga topics, ma'am, yung mga waffling. Kasi yung research ko po, I am a civil engineer pero hindi ako, ang research ko hindi siya experimental. I have seen from many books of experimental research hanggang doon lang sa libro.
Okay.
Pero yung sa akin, iba, maraming matutulungan kong mga like yung bayan na gagawin ko ng research, yung mga policy makers, yung gano'n.
Yes,
Kasi
sir.
yung research assessment, kaya kwan yun na parang descriptive and evaluative. May questionnaire ho ako na
Yes, sir.
okay po. Is that a good or not a
Okay.
good research? Okay po.
Okay. Pasiguro si Sir Daniel P. De La Torre. Tama ba? Nakuha ko ba yung pangalan mo? Okay. Thank you so much, Sir Daniel, for that question. Actually, there is no such thing as good or bad research, good or bad methodology. It is
Yes.
actually depending on what we want to research, what we want to find out. Siguro na-confuse ka kasi sinabi ko, we should not be too descriptive, di ba?
Yes,
I keep
ma'am.
on saying we should not be too descriptive. Pero hindi ko sinabi that descriptive evaluative research is not a good research.
Yes,
Diba?
ma'am. Kaya doon ako nalito.
Yan. Oo. Naku, sir, wag kang kabahan.
Hindi
Oo.
maganda.
Kasi ikaw naman po magdi-defend ng paper mo kung para
Yes, ma'am.
saan, ano ang purpose ng paper mo. Ang sinasabi ko lang, sir, na hindi tayo dapat maging descriptive masyado sa
Okay.
literature natin. Sa literature, okay? Hindi sa methodology. Sa literature ay yung mag-a-appear na ang dami nating sinasabi na hindi naman pala akma dun sa paper natin. So we just keep on describing, adding so much words not related or relevant in our study. So don't worry, Sir Daniel, okay? Huwag mong isipin na porket descriptive evaluative ka, hindi maganda ang paper mo. No, that is a very bad notion to start with a paper. For as long as you know where you are leading, diba? You know
Yes,
what
ma'am.
you want to answer, what body of knowledge you want to have at the end of your study, then you are having a very good research. Okay?
Yes. Thank you, ma'am.
Congratulations in advance on your
Okay
paper.
po. Thank you po.
Any more questions?
Thank you, sir, and Doc April for that. Are there any more questions or comments? Last call for our participants.
How do you determine the most relevant literature to include, especially when there is an overwhelming amount of information available? Okay, that's really the question, Sir Marlon. How do you determine the most relevant literature to include in RRL, especially when there is an overwhelming amount of information available? Number one, let's consider the recency, no? Especially if you are looking into or studying current issues, look into the recency. Even if it is in the 10-year period, but you have available resources within the 5 years, then this literature within the 5-year period is more related, tama? Is more relevant to your literature. Also, depending on what argument you want to drive into, di ba? Sabi ko kanina, you have to have a stand in your literature. Ano mo gusto mong sabihin mo? Do you want to argue the positive effects, the negative effects? Diba? So, kung ano ang gusto mong pag-usapan, yun ang importante mong dapat ilagay sa literature. Ikaw mismo ang makakaalam kung importante ba to or hindi. Kasi wala namang fast and hard rule na eto lang ang dapat kong ilagay. Okay? Thank you, Marlon, for that question. And I know you've been listening intently kasi ang dami mong comment dito sa chat box.